Welcome to another episode of Ragas.co.za. Francois, you all know, get used to him. He's not as pretty as Shane, not as ugly as Bart, but yeah, we've got a stigma with Francois. Francois, welcome.
Thank you.
How's life?
No, well, rugby is being played during the week, on the weekends. Lots of rugby coming up, but before we get there, I think let's talk about our own rugby at home, which is actually what matters. The Currie Cup, and the games that we had on Wednesday and the two games on Saturday.
Yeah, Wednesday you were at Ellis Park?
Correct. Lions versus Western Province. Score there 38 for the Lions, 32 for Western Province. Major improvement from a Lions team that actually struggled against Pumas the previous match. They actually turned up, and together with a homegrown advantage, actually had a good game against Province. Controlled most of the game in terms of possession, territory, right up until about the last 12 minutes when things went a bit pear-shaped, when 2 yellow cards were awarded to the Lions. And then against the Lions. And then suddenly the door opened for Province, who then came back with a major fight back. And I think the score at that stage was 38-10. And within, as I said, about 12-13 minutes, the yellow cards overlapped as well. So there are stages that they were playing with 13, or defending with 13 players against Province. Province managed to get it up to 32 points against 38, and unfortunately for Province, the time ran out. Unfortunately for Lions,
fortunately for us Lions supporters, yeah, the time
saved by the bell.
Yeah. But the 2 yellow cards, you think justified?
Yes, in the sense because the pressure came from Province. So let's give Province due. They actually came back towards the end of the game. Pressure being applied, forcing the Lions to make the silly mistakes, stupid mistakes, which resulted in those 2 cards. But up until then, it was a much improved Lions team, which makes me very positive for the up and coming match against the British and Orange Lions, which we'll discuss in a separate program later in the week.
Yeah, and then the second match is we all expected the Bulls to run away the last 20 minutes with Pumas, and that didn't happen.
Well, the first surprise was Province losing against the Lions, based on the Lions' poor performance the previous. So that was the first surprise. The second surprise, yes, I mean we thought runaway train for the Bulls. I mean, we discussed it beforehand. Actually, the Pumas had a very good game. The Bulls had to work very, very hard.
The Pumas had a good second half.
Yeah.
They started well. The first 20 minutes they started well, and then the Bulls took over.
Yeah.
And then the Pumas came back the second half. Everybody thought the muscle and the speed at which the Bulls are playing will overrun the Pumas in the second half, and it didn't happen.
Never happened. I think what makes the Pumas, for me, a good team and I actually enjoy them to watch, is the basics rugby that they play. I mean, they just play the basic structured rugby. And yes, opportunities were created for them in the second half. And the final score was 32 for the Bulls, 27 for the Pumas. So a nice close finish there.
But 22 of the 23 players after Bulls played in Raviga the weekend before.
Yes.
So they travelled back on the Sunday afternoon. So you think a little bit of jet lag?
Look, definitely. I think Jake said it in the post-match interview, press conference, that it's a quick turnaround now between matches.
But wait a minute, I don't agree with it.
Okay.
He knew exactly what he was in for.
Yeah.
He knew about the jet lag and everything. Yeah. To go afterwards and claim, but sies toch, we had a problem. I don't think it's fair towards the Pumas. I think the whole thing is degrading the Pumas' effort.
Yeah.
Jimmy knew exactly what was going to happen. He structured his game plan according to that, and he almost pulled it off.
Yes, did the homework. And I really enjoyed watching them play. It was, players that stood out for me there, probably from the Puma side, was Etienne Taljaard.
The winger.
And then for you and the Bulls, I've got Cornel Hendricks.
Cornel Hendricks is always,
Always the old faithful, yes.
He's always, he's doing well,
But that was the second surprise of the weekend. And now for the third surprise, yesterday.
I don't think it's such a surprise because, 2 weeks before, the Griquas beat the Cheetahs, basically more or less the same team. Cheetahs has now listened to Willem Strauss of the Bulls, and now they claim 30 new players debuting for the Currie Cup squad, but those players, most of them already played for them in the previous Super Series and all that kind of stuff. So, but Griquas really surprised me. The way they came back, again, I thought the second half would be the Cheetahs running away with it, and it never happened.
No, the score there was eventually, the final score was 31 for Griquas, 10 for the Cheetahs.
And the Cheetahs didn't score the whole of the second half, if I'm not...
Not at all. As a matter of fact, it was up until the 65th minute, the score was still 14-10 in favour of Griquas. So it just shows you that last 15...
20 minutes,
Yeah, 20 minutes, Griquas opened... The gates were open and Griquas ran for it. But hard grinding rugby. It wasn't pretty. One can argue that Cheetahs had opportunities in the beginning. Couldn't finish. Lots of phase plays. Couldn't finish. Opted not to take penalty kicks. Going for the line. The old dilemma between taking the 3 or rather trying to back yourself and go for the 7. Unfortunately, the forwards did not... perform in terms of when it came to the driving line-out balls. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
It never works.
Well, it worked for the Lions against Province. Most of the Lions' tries were driving mauls from penalty line.
No, driving mauls,
Yeah, driving mauls. That's what So, kudos to the Griquas. Always nice to see the minnows also come to the party and
I don't think you can call the Griquas a minnows. I think you can call the Cheetahs also minnows these days. Because they're sitting without Frans Steyn, Omar Steyn, and now suddenly they only have Ruan Pina directing the game. And those players that was out with COVID was more or less their leaders panel. I asked Ruan on a press interview, aren't you worried about that? And he said no, he's sure they're going to be fine, the leadership. I think the Cheetahs is falling in the same trap as we're going to discuss the new signings of the Bulls also just now, but the Cheetahs is also falling in the trap trying to bring in old players to bring stability to their squad, and it didn't really help.
It's always I always think, when they announce, coaches discuss this, they always think and say, what is the balance between bringing in old, for stability, experience versus new talent?
I think in the Currie Cup, it must be the young guys. Because if you really go and look now, let's have the Lions and the Stormers, or Western Province, your players there?
It was PJ Botha, and then...
The hooker from the Lions.
And then again, Evan Roos, despite the yellow card that he received for a stupid player.
You can't call a player stupid.
Stupid play.
Stupid play, okay. But you understand what I'm saying. You've got Evan Roos, that's a young player. PJ Botha, that's a young player that impressed you. But the Lions has got several young players that's coming through now.
Definitely, So,
the Chuchuka brothers. Maps, he was also very well.
I was going to say Maps, yes, definitely. Maps Maxwani. He was actually 2 tries. Of one which is a brilliant intercept try.
Or a stupid pass from the Western Province.
Opportunity is opportunity. You take it.
Okay, the second game, the Bulls and Pumas, your players?
I had Etienne Talliard for Pumas, and then, as I said, Cornel Hendricks from the Bulls.
I think the Bulls is starting to struggle. They've got 15 good players, but they've got no game breaker.
Interesting,
Who's the game breaker except for Hendricks now? Who else is a game breaker at the Bulls?
Well, Gio Plon, unfortunately.
No, his season is gone.
Unfortunately.
And I mean,
he was in the field for about 5 minutes. It was unfortunate.
Yeah, but everybody said it's a gamble because he's known known to be accident prone or injury prone and everything.
For me, that would have been an example. But unfortunately, he is now severely injured, and I think there's going to be
his season is apparently that.
Yeah. The end of it.
But the Bulls are struggling because they've got no players that can really tear the thing apart.
Yes. Nothing in the lower ranks that you can recommend? Not at this stage. Okay, well...
The Bulls are really, because they've got no game breakers. The game breakers are either injured or at the Springboks. And if you really go and have a look at the Springboks, or the Bulls doesn't have a game breaker.
Yeah. So what does it mean for them? Back to basics. You have to be strong in all your assets.
Well, we're going to discuss the new signings also now. Okay, and then the Griquas and the Cheetahs?
For Griquas, Keiter.
Only Keiter. I cannot understand why Keiter is not being contracted by one of the super unions, or at the least given credit by the SA.
Yeah, he's involved in the play. He made one try, he scored another. He's just everywhere.
He's all over.
All over, exactly. And enjoys his rugby. You can see he's loving it. Unfortunately, from the Cheetah side, maybe Ruan Pinar as standing out. But for me, unfortunately, no other players from the Cheetah side.
Yeah, the Cheetahs was one-off runners and everything. Everybody tried,
definitely,
but on their own, there's no structure, nothing. They were supposed to have all the territorial advantage and the whatchamacallit. They were supposed to win with these.
Yeah. Look, I mean, and there was lots of handling. I mean, they had good handling. They just couldn't finish. They get into the quarter of the Griquas, and then it's either a forward or a drop or a... Okay, but then again, also good due to very good defence from Griquas. I mean, they managed to get back.
Due to the defence, yeah.
Due to the defence, that's what I'm saying. And due to defence from the Griquas, forcing errors on the Cheetah side. And so give credit to Griquas as well for their very, very good defence. I mean,
but now we must go back to the new signings of the Lions. Apparently, Ruan Combrink is one of them.
The Lions?
Of the Bulls.
Okay.
Jake White has said after they lost against Benetton that they have to relook everything. They let JC Nel and Marnus Potgieter go. And now the name of Ruan Combrink
popping up again.
Of the Lions popping up again, there's another Lions player popping up again, and the centre also, Harold Foster of the Lions also coming into. Well, he was now contracted and everything. The Bulls going the wrong way?
Trying to think the rationale.
Well, there's no rationale. I mean, it's known that Jake White wants to win. He doesn't care about yesterday, doesn't care about tomorrow. And I cannot understand why you're sitting with Wessel there, that's a brilliant coach, supposed to develop the under 20 players, and then you go back and buy.
From outside.
I'm sure every time Jake White drives past the our days now, the doors are opening and the gates are opening and the old men are standing there hoping to get a contract from them. It just doesn't make sense.
Hence your question, experience versus young talent. My personal opinion is promote from within your own ranks. That's why you're investing in your younger players. That's why you've got them in your structures. They're there for a reason. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there in the first place.
The average age of the Bulls are 23 and a half, I think. Yeah. So it is a relevant, youthful squad. But I mean to send JC Nel and Marnus Potgieter away.
And I mean, Marnus was doing very well. I mean, he featured in the senior games quite a few.
JC had a brilliant try against the Cheetahs on Saturday because he's now at Griquas.
Yes. And I also, one of the hooker for the Bulls now, playing for Griquas now, ex-Affie boy,
Yeah, but okay, he wasn't there. He was on the field because he had personal problems. Yeah.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is there's another Bulls player that was let go.
Young players.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so that's it. Basically, we've got the Lions looking a lot better. We've got Griek was at least coming up again after losing most of the matches the last season. And then, the Pumas.
Yeah. Enjoy watching the Pumas always.
Yeah, a question was asked to me the other day, why doesn't anybody look at Jimmy as a coach for the Super Unions? Because he wouldn't fit.
And?
No, he just wouldn't fit. Jimmy is an old-type coach. He's the king. You listen to him. And the prima donnas we've got at rugby in South Africa these days, they would. It's like John Mitchell. All the Blue Bulls players revolted against him because they didn't like his attitude.
Too tough to handle.
Too tough to handle. And I mean, that's the only reason Jimmy is not a coach at one of the top, because of his personality. And Jimmy, you've got a better personality than mine. That we agreed also. But that's the problem. He just wouldn't fit in because at the four major unions, it's more politics and visa gat jy wil lack and those kind of things that Jimmy he won't fit in at the top guys.
Yeah, doesn't have the brilliant coach still.
Brilliant coach. Jimmy,
keep up the good work.
You're not even one of the best coaches in South Africa. I really think Jimmy at this stage are the best coach in South Africa.
Well, that's why it's good for the Pumas.
Yeah. Great stuff. That was the weekend's Currie Cup Rugby. Still a long way to go, 2 rounds.
Yes.
On Wednesday we've got the Cheetahs against the Bulls.
Yes, in Free State.
Yeah, in Bloemfontein. And then we've got Western Province against the Sharks.
Yes, that's in the Shark Tank.
No. Cape Town Stadium. And then on Saturday it is the Lions against the British and Irish Lions.
Yes.
Exciting rugby for the weekend, so let's have a look. Thank you very much.